Now, a month after Atul Subhash's suicide, the national capital has witnessed a similar tragedy. Puneet Khurana, a Delhi-based businessman, was found deceased in his home in Kalyan Vihar. Prior to his death, he shot a 59-minute video documenting the harassment that he endured. In the video, he alleged that his wife and his in-laws pressured him to give away a share of his bakery business. Khurana stated that he was suffering from depression and blamed his wife and in-laws for his emotional distress. Now, in a bid to verify the statements recorded by him in the clip, the Delhi police is all set to question Puneet Khurana's family members and in-laws. The Delhi police will be sending a team to Khurana's residence and will also be questioning his friends. An unfortunate incident that is, I'm going to try to speak to my panelists on this subject and try to decipher a number of cases that seem to be fast augmenting, where men have been at the receiving end of domestic harassment and violence. Joining me on the telecast first up is Advocate Ashwini Dubey. Advocate Dubey, it's sad to know that yet another case, something similar to the case that happened in Bengaluru to this IT techie who also took his life because of the harassment, extortion and physical and mental abuse that he faced at the hands of his wife and her family. A similar case appears. Do you think it is just a coincidence, or do you think this trend that we are seeing of more and more men who are finding themselves in difficult marriages have no place to escape but to kill themselves?
Yes, that's a correct answer, that they have no place to escape except killing themselves, except giving their lives. You just understand the mental trauma and agony which has been faced by the Atul Subhash and now the Puneet Khurana. What stress he has been undergoing. And not only this, the statistics shows, Megha, you see that the numerous cases, there are numerous instances of women using the advantage, the women-centric laws, often at the expenses of men. So they are abusing and misusing these laws at the expenses of the husband. The several laws were framed in order to eradicate the problems which were being treated to the women in 1983. Now a lot of water has flown under the bridge. Now women are leading from the front. But at the same time, the law which was brought to make them empowered, that is being abused and misused. You see, the women have been found to be at the receiving end of a job earlier. But now, if you see the allegations, if you see the statistics, the false cases of dowry, one of the most cited examples of the abuse. This provision was aimed, that the dowry provision was aimed to protect women from the harassment and abuses related to dowries. But now you see most of the 498 cases, जैसे झगड़ा हुआ, immediately you are reaching to the police station and filing a case कि मेरे से dowry मांगा, and that is what the police is supposed to take action, because there is no law which say that you can make out impartial, independent, unbiased inquiry. You have to take a decision in favor of the women. Domestic Violence Misuse Act, that the protection of women from domestic abuse, is a major piece of legislation which was brought to combat domestic violence. But now see, there have been instances, more and more cases. The lawyers offer the packages, that 125 maintenance section, protection of women from domestic violence act, the maintenance, go to the 498A section 24 Hindu Marriage Act, and at the same time harassment inside the house. Moment you say something, then you are not giving them equal right. For this, the human-centric laws were brought, or the women-centric laws in India were brought to give them equal right. But that equal right, on the one hand, you see the way it is abused and misused.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. You've made your point. I also have with me Leher Sethi, who's a women rights activist. Leher, a second case has emerged in a span of just a few weeks. Do you think there needs to be strong action taken when it comes to the laws that protect the women and these very women who end up taking undue advantage of it?
Okay, Megha, firstly, we don't know the specifics of this case. in a fair and unbiased judicial system, you take each case based on its individual merits. Okay, so let's first wait for all the data or whatever facts are to emerge in this case. We cannot just decide on social media that because a man has committed suicide, the woman is at fault. As far as I can see from the video, firstly, the abusive language that she used was very incorrect. It shouldn't have been done. But that still does not mean that she deserves to go to jail or that an FIR needs
No,
to be
I'm not
filed
saying. I'm
against
not
her.
saying that
It also does not.
this woman must go to jail. All I'm saying is that in today's world, do you think there is a need to bring about laws and make about amendments in the current law system so that the rights of men in matrimony are also safeguarded?
Look, there is definitely a need for judicial reforms in this country on multiple levels. Firstly, our divorce laws are archaic. They do not support or help anybody, whether it is women or men. Our judicial system is a joke. It takes decades in certain cases for a person, for two people to get a divorce settlement. It takes like 10 to 12 years at times. Anywhere between 1 year to 10 years is the regular time that it takes. In that time, anybody will get frustrated. On top of
Okay, I'll come back to you, Leher. I would also request you to please stay still. If you are in your vehicle, please ask your driver or whosoever is driving to halt the car so that there is no network problem. Since you are on a TV discussion on the channel, I also have with me Ellen Rao, who is the former DCP Special Cell, Delhi Police. Ellen Rao, how do we figure out a solution to this menace that seems to be rising unabated?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, good evening to everyone and Happy New Year. And really, this is a very shocking case of Atul in Delhi, and which speaks about the misuse of the alleged misuse of the enactments on to help the women at large. But I also agree that it all depends on case to case. But in maximum cases, when these laws were made initially, they were made women-centric, and that was a requirement of that hour. That was requirement at that time. But over the passage of time, over the period, these laws are being misused at large. I can say, because after retirement, I'm also practicing a lawyer. Then I can see so many other cases also which have been coming in front of me, and so many other cases which are with some other lawyers. We can visualize that these laws are, because multiplicity of laws, you can say, that domestic violence case, police against, crime against women cell, the police case, and the other for the Hindu Marriage Act compensation. In even the compensation or monthly maintenance is also under CRPC and also in DV Act, and the multiplicity of the double layer system, you can say. I strongly agree with Mr. Ashish Dubey that this law should be, these all multiple laws should be made one law, because if you want to definitely help the women at distress, definitely we should, because in few cases when these women are misusing this the law in favor of them, then there are so many other genuine women which are facing the problem. So we cannot generalize all that women are misusing the law, but certainly some women which are misusing this, they are also hampering the other women's interest in at large.
Okay. Jyoti Pandey also on the telecast with me. Jyoti, let's hear it from you. Your perspective, you are an activist. I will not deny that for every single case of a man being harassed in a marriage, there are thousands other where women are the one who are victims. But at the same time, just because women are the ones who are in large percentage of the times victims, and there are laws that are built in favor of them and safeguarding them, and amendments have been made, and rightfully so, we can't discount the fact that there are some men who are facing harassment, like the one case that we at this point of time has seen, two of them in fact in the past few weeks.
First of all, I would like to ask, how do we know that few of men are suffering? Where is the statistics? Where is the group which is, writing all these statistics, and where is the data for men? I would like to ask all the advocates and judges here, and of course the police person is here, officers. Where is the data? How are we assuming that there are only few men suffering when we have data only for women? Whenever
No,
we
that's
see
not true.
National
When you're
Family
going
Health
and
Survey,
filing a report in
whenever we see
the police station, of
crime
course you
record
have
bureau,
data.
we have
I mean,
just the data of
this has
crime
been
record
proved.
bureau, which
This has
says
been
this
proved
many men
several
committed
times.
suicide,
Let's not.
and because of
Jyoti, please listen to me. I'm saying that obviously there is proof. Obviously there is evidence. Obviously the number of cases that are reported in the police station against violence against women, domestic abuse against women is much higher, and let's not even question that. And I'm saying right now, is there an increasing trend? You're just not stopping. You're not wanting to listen to me. Okay, I'm going to come back to you, Advocate Ashwini Dubey. Now there are people like Jyoti Pandey who would contend that the figures that are provided, that are in national domain, in public domain, perhaps are skewed, or because they are not in favor of men, it means that men are perhaps not reporting these number of cases, that are the number of cases of harassment that they are facing at the hands of women. Do you think that's true?
data, where is this? Muting me will not help.
Jyoti, all I'm saying is, let's have a very cohesive, constructive conversation. First of all, it is a fact that there are hundreds and thousands of women that suffer at the hands of men and their in-laws when it comes to marriage, when it comes to matrimony. It is a fact that there are the number of men who are in matrimonial disputes and are harassed by women are minuscule to the number of women that face these kind of harassment, and therefore let's make that clear, and only then can we hold our conversation. If you at this point of time are refuting all the data that is available in public domain, then there will be no basis of holding a conversation over here. And then if you are saying that there are more men who are abused and the number of men being abused versus the women who are abused is almost the same, then on what basis are you saying that?
The data available, how many old women are suffering in the hands of their daughter-in-laws or their sister-in-laws? How many women, you are giving just a specific small time of data that this many women are suffering in the hands of men. I am saying there are women suffering in the hands of women only. I am saying there are men suffering in the hands of women. I am saying there are little girls who are not able to see their fathers, and they have a right to see their father. Where is the data for those small children?
Advocate Ashwini Dubey, again coming back to you. Now, do we have lack of data when it comes to a number of these cases which we at this point in time, in the face of it, believe or think that these are far and few in number, these are just an exception more than the rule? Is there data collation that is happening by the law and order agencies, by people who need to be appointed to ensure that the numbers are at this point of time being stacked up?
If we see the National Crime Records Bureau, that's the official which releases the statistics for the cases, be it the cases, offences related against the women, by the women, or generalized. So NCRB has released a data crime statistics, and if we see, that is in the public domain, Megha, and I being a very fair to you also, and I never make any statement which is incorrect or wrong. In 2020, a total of 1,11,514, and again to be noted by my sister Jyoti, 1,11,549 cases were registered under 498A. Of these 520 were closed by the police, citing as false, and overall 16,151 cases were closed by the police either because they were false, or there was a mistake of fact or law, or it was a civil dispute which was given the criminal color. That is, the 14.4% of the cases were closed by the police for not finding merit in the case. 96,497 men, 23,809 women were arrested under 498A last year, making total arrest under this section 1,20,306. This is the data. Now, let's talk about the constitutionality. When the doctrine of the rule of law established that everyone shall be equal before the law, Mega, very responsibly I am making this statement on your show, that when the law says that everyone shall be equal before the law, it is not quite so unusual that the law is a gender centric instead of being it's a gender neutral. This society itself is quite biased. Many communities have been marginalized for decades under this law. Legal provisions has to be to safeguard the people, citizens of this country, instead of framing, roping, accusing a particular
I agree with
gender.
you. I agree with you. But then there have been women who have
Yes.
been facing a number of harassment cases at the hands of men. We live in a society which is patriarchal in its structure and has been for decades together, for centuries together, and let's not even go there. Let's not even try to even contest that. At the same time, and I'm saying that at the same time, it is also the onus that lies on the judiciary to give men the rights, give men the way they can go ahead and use these laws for any sort of ill treatment or harassment that they are facing at the hands of their wife or the in-laws in any sort of a marital dispute is the question. And at this point in time, I do not want to skew it and say that, you know, the laws that have been made and amendments that have been brought about, and I'll give you the example of the Nirbhaya rape case. There were amendments that had to be brought about to ensure that it was a fast trial that took place in the Nirbhaya case, that the sentencing of these criminals was increased. And these were the questions that had been raised, and even then the case went on for years together before the culprits were hanged. So we cannot over here say that that women are the ones who are taking undue advantage of the law. There are a small percentage of women that are taking undue advantage of it, and men are suffering. There is that percentage of men who are suffering because of this, and therefore, Ellen Rao, how do we ensure that when special care is taken, when a woman goes to the police station and files a complaint, and there is special care that is taken to file a complaint for domestic abuse or a rape or domestic violence that has taken place, can there be similar provisions be provided for the men who face similar harassment?
Yes, Megha, definitely there are some special treatment for the women. Definitely there should be, because in each police station in Delhi at least, we have a women help desk. Everywhere you will go, that women have to, on that women help desk is being monitored by the women itself. Police officer is there, the women police officer is handling that women help desk. And that women, it was made compulsory in all police stations because there was some complaints that when police, that women goes to the police to lodge a complaint, there are a male police station, male police officers, then they do not listen to them, their grievances. And because of that, that women help desk was made. But as you asked me that is there be any provision for the men also? But not at all. For men, there is no such provision, because in that case, I must tell you that these type of cases which I am saying that the women can file a complaint against any person in the crime against women cell, and in that case, that cases of 498 earlier IPC, then 406 earlier IPC. In that case, the Honorable Supreme Court has heavily put on this, they put pressure on that these type of cases, in these type of cases, no person should be arrested suo moto, or only immediately after arresting this case, and after that there is no arrest. And in that case, that was a very famous judgment of Arnesh Kumar, that no person can be arrested who is facing any investigation which is having a maximum punishment of 7 years. In that, after that, there is a very less arrest in 498. Very exceptional cases there is arrest in 498A cases, and because of that, that is also came to know that initially, if you go to the past and the history, that when this 498A IPC case was amended and came into force, there were suo moto arrest of these. Not only the husband, parents were also being lodged in the jail, but now it is not so. So then we can say that when the circumstances there and then when the situation is changing in our society, definitely we have to mold that laws accordingly.
Okay. So, okay. All right. Let me get Joyita back into the conversation. So, Joyita, what do you have to say now that the statistics have been put out as were shared by Advocate Dubey? We've also spoken about Nirbhaya, and we've spoken about a number of these domestic violence cases that women have been just burnt to death. I'm yet to hear of a case where a man has been put on fire by his in-laws, and a case such as this.
Megha, do you want me to send you give me your email ID, I'll send you all the incidents where a male has been burned, acid attacks have been made, they have been beaten up to death. I mean, I'm really shocked that as a media person you don't know and other people don't know. That's the problem with it. When you start it with, a woman being burned and man as not being burned, we are not talking about gender neutral thing. We are talking about men. Let's talk about men. Let's stick to it. Why we are putting patriarchy, Nirbhaya and everything.
But there is patriarchy. But there is patriarchy in our country. There have been number of cases where women have been burnt to death, and there are far more in number than men. There have been cases where women have been beaten to death because they did not get dowry. But you're not. I think you at this point in time have to accept that the crime against women in matrimonial disputes is much higher than men. But I am agreeing at the very same time that the laws need to be made gender neutral, particularly when it comes to the complexity of the marital disputes that the country faces, that people face in our country, that couples face in our country. And yes, women in certain sections of the society in our country and across the globe as well, that women have improve their living conditions, improve their economic conditions. They are stepping out and running their businesses and starting out jobs, and that has helped them in providing economic prowess, economic empowerment, and therefore it is now need for reform of laws to take place. I'm going to come back to you, Leher, and understand from you how can this be ensured?
I don't know I'm seriously appalled at this woman, Jyoti. Please go to the NCRB website.
I am also appalled to you.
Yes.
I am also appalled to you. Please go to the NCRB statistics and see the married men suicide rate. Okay?
I will just request you to not speak
over
over each other.
Don't name me, otherwise I'm going to give you so many
I would request Jyoti Pandey, please mute yourself. Please mute Jyoti Pandey. Let me hear it from what Leher has to say before I wrap up this discussion.
This is the kind of inherent internalized patriarchy that we talk about.
Only patriarchy, only one answer, patriarchy. That's it.
Can we
please?
I don't know. I mean,
look at
I would request my team to please mute Jyoti Pandey.
A man has died and this woman is laughing.
Oh God. No, I'm laughing at you.
This woman is laughing at it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I will not be able to carry forward this conversation. It's unfortunate that I have to wrap this up. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast, and thanks for watching NewsX.